Right, so welcome back to yet another video. And before I say anything, yes, I know I keep saying right, I'll say it in all the videos, every time I resume them, I'm going to try and stop doing it, because it's annoying me when I try and edit them. But this is the MTD Lawn Flight RS115 mower that I showed the other day that we had out of the scrap. And today, we're going to try and service it up a little bit. So it's got an 11.5 horsepower Briggs in it. It's a 2005 model. Although it actually looks like a 1960 model because of the state of the paint on it, which we are going to try and do something about. The actual rear fender area isn't too bad, it's mainly that bonnet. So I'll have to sand that down or whatever. But the engine we're going to focus on, it's a pretty simple engine. It's a non-oil filter engine. Bit of a cheapskate model really. It's got a bit of blow-by, which comes from the emissions line whenever you run it, which is as a result of the oil being really thin. It's probably not been changed in donkey's years. It's properly black as well, so we're going to change that today. We're going to see if we can change the air filter. If I've got one lying around. If not, I'm going to have to order one up. We're going to take the plug out and take a look at it and clean it up. We're going to change the deck belt because the original one that was on there at the junkyard, they kept trying to start it with one of the spindles seized. So it literally just burnt away at this portion of the belt. I've got a new battery here from another project. I ended up selling the project before I did anything with it. So this battery's been sitting a little while, but it should be fine. The only concern I have is it's going to be too wide to fit in the battery tray, which is quite likely, to be honest. So yeah, I think we're going to start by changing the oil. So the drain plug for these is on this side. There it is. Some of them have like an easy drain where you can just pull it, but they're really bad. You need to put a plug in because often they can just dump out randomly when you're using them. So it's a 7/16 of an inch block, if you like. So you can get it off with that, but they're normally really tight. So what I do is I cheat a bit and I use a 1/2 inch extension on it if I've got it lying around here. Yeah, here it is. So I put it on my ratchet on that end, obviously, and this whole end I just stick over the drain. It's actually relatively tight fit. It's not perfect, so you'd want to be careful not to strip it out, but it does generally work. You want to get quite a big pan because it goes everywhere because it has to slide down here, which is annoying. But if you get a big or correctly sized one, you can just slot it under here. These standard British sink-sized washing up bowls do the trick. So yeah, I'm going to just undo that and I'll be back when the oil's draining. Okay, so the oil is draining. You can see why it had a bit of blow-by. Look how thin that is. It smells really strongly of fuel, so I reckon it's been sat with a bad needle in the seat for quite a long time because it was completely stuck when we opened the carb up. Look at that, that's bad. It's completely black as well. I don't know what I meant when I said you could put that on the ratchet. What I really meant is you can use a 14mm spanner on the end of this in there, if you know what I mean, which makes it a lot easier than trying to struggle with a little spanner in there. But yeah, so that's draining out nicely. I'll be back in a moment. Right, so that's all drained out now and disposed of in a safe manner. I would always advise putting some copper slip on that drain plug when you put it back in, because they do get seized. The reason for that is because it's a steel plug and an aluminium casting, so they do like to electrolytically corrode together. I'm going to fill it with oil now. You can look in the manual, if you can easily find them online and see how much they take, but it's generally about 2 litres. I just top it up until it's between the full and empty line, or full and low line should I say. They're not fussy on what oil they take. You're probably best to use SAE30 or 10W40. But I'm just going to use this 5W30 I've got lying around, which will be fine. So the next job is going to be to, well, if you focus on the engine first, change this plug. As you can see, that HT lead isn't in the best of condition, but it's a really cheap little mower. So all I'm going to do is just undo them cable ties and rewrap it in electrical tape. Looks like we've got they're generally a 10 or a 14. It looks like we've got a 10 mil spark plug wrench or socket. Just So we'll grab that. Grab the 14 just in case. Grab a ratchet. Let's have a look. Is it 10? No, it is a 14 after all. Yeah, 14mm. Yep, that's the one. See if we can do this without pausing the video. Bit difficult to do one-handed. There we go. We are going to try and grow this channel a little bit. My mates, when he can actually come up here, once the coronavirus quarantine is lifted, we'll film some videos properly. Right, it's almost nice. There it goes. Let's have a look at this plug. Okay, so it's quite oily, but that oil was so thin I won't be surprised it was burning a fair bit of oil. Cheapo plug, torch. What is it? An F6 RTC. Quality. Let's have a look if we've got a better plug to replace it. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? What's this? It's an NGKR PP6ES. Yeah, they're used on most mower engines. It's a quad one. Looks like that's all I've got spare at the minute. So we'll have to see if we can get this little cap off, because I'm not sure how tight a fit it will be without it. There's no cap on that one now. Alright, I'll be back in a second. There's still a bit there. We'll just re-crank it over and see what happens. It's probably really low on fuel actually, because these tanks have a habit of evaporating anything you put in them. Yeah, it's actually empty, so I have to just top that up. Okay, so as you can hear from it cooling down, I have it running for a while, and the blow-by is solved enough to the point where I'm not going to worry about it. But another issue is surfaced. I've barely used this. I've only really driven it and started it a couple of times, and it turns out it's got a bit of a fuel supply issue. These engines typically have a fuel cut-off solenoid on the bottom of the carb, which cuts all fuel when you've got one of the safety switches inactive. But somebody in their infinite wisdom in the past has just hacked it out of here, which seems to be causing a bit of a problem. If I give this a tap, or if I crank it now, I don't think it'll run. It's really struggling. But if I whack it with a hammer to see if we can unstick that hacked off valve, I reckon it will go. Well, not that much, but you know what I mean. See if we can give it another tap. See what I mean? Blow-by sorted. Not enough blow-by to worry about. But yeah, I turned it off by the key then. So I think the next video may well be how to clean out a Briggs & Stratton carb and see if we can do something about that shut-off solenoid. So yeah, alright, I'll see you in the next one.